My name is Cassidy. They say that blood is thicker than water, but they forget that you can drown in both. At 19, I stood in the lobby of the registrar's office, my hands shaking so hard the paper in my grip sounded like dry leaves in a storm. I had my schedule printed: Architecture 101, Calculus, Structural Design. I had my dorm key. I had my dreams packed into 3 cardboard boxes in the trunk of a beat-up sedan. All I needed was for the tuition payment to clear. "I'm sorry, Cassidy," the clerk said, her voice filtered through a thick pane of glass. "The account is empty. The wire transfer was reversed 3 days ago." My heart didn't just skip a beat, it felt like it hit a wall. "That's impossible," I whispered. "That was my college fund. My grandmother started that when I was born. My parents have been adding to it for 18 years. There's $80,000 in there." The clerk looked at me with a pity that felt like a slap. "The balance is 0, honey. It was withdrawn by the primary account holders, Arthur and Eleanor Vance." I didn't cry then. I didn't have the air in my lungs to produce tears. I walked out of that office, past the students laughing and meeting their roommates, and drove 3 hours back to the house I used to call home. A house that smelled of jasmine and lies. When I walked through the front door, the house was celebratory. I heard the clink of crystal from the dining room. I heard my brother, Julian's, loud, arrogant laugh. Julian was 21, the sun around which my parents orbited. I was just a moon, useful for reflecting their light, but expected to stay in the dark. I walked into the dining room. There was a bottle of vintage champagne on the table. My father, Arthur, was beaming, his arm around Julian's shoulders. My mother, Eleanor, was looking at a glossy brochure for something called Vance Virtuality. "There she is!" my father shouted, his voice booming. "The college girl! Come, have a glass. We're celebrating a pivot in the family legacy." I didn't take a glass. I stood at the head of the table, my shadow stretching over their feast. "Where is my tuition money, Dad?" The room went silent. The bubbles in the champagne hissed. My mother didn't look up from the brochure. "Cassidy, don't be dramatic," she said softly. "We've had a family emergency, a business opportunity that couldn't wait." "A business opportunity?" I choked out. "That was my grandmother's money. That was my 4 years of school." Julian leaned back in his chair, picking at a piece of expensive cheese. "It's an investment, Cass. I'm launching a crypto-integrated luxury concierge service. It's the future. In 2 years, that 80,000 will be 8 million. I'll buy you a whole university then." "You're a dropout, Julian," I screamed. "You failed 3 businesses in 4 years. You burned through your own fund, and now you've stolen mine?" My father's face turned a dangerous shade of red. He slammed his hand on the table. "Stolen? You live under my roof. You eat my food. That money belongs to this family, and right now, this family needs to support the person with the most potential. Julian has a vision. You were just going to be a mid-level architect. You're smart, Cassidy. You're resourceful. You can get a loan. You can work a job. Julian needs the capital now." "You're choosing him again," I said, the realization settling into my bones like ice. "We are choosing the family's future," my mother said, finally looking at me. Her eyes were as cold as the marble countertops.
Don't be selfish. You've always been the steady one. You don't need a head start like Julian does. You'll figure it out. Now sit down and be happy for your brother." I looked at Julian. He was smiling. It was the smile of a boy who had never been told no a day in his life. "I'm leaving," I said. "Fine," my father barked. "Go to your room." "No," I said, pulling the dorm key from my pocket and throwing it on the table. It landed in Julian's champagne glass with a sharp clink. I walked out. I didn't pack. I just took my car, my $200 in tips from my summer job, and the fury burning in my chest. As I drove down the driveway, I saw them through the window, already back to their toast. They didn't even watch me go.
The next 3 years were a blur of caffeine, cold air, and the smell of industrial grease. I didn't go to my dream school. I went to a community college at night while working 10-hour shifts at a structural steel yard during the day. I slept in a studio apartment where the heater rattled like a dying ghost, and the only furniture was a mattress on the floor and a drafting table I'd found in a dumpster. I learned the language of steel. I learned how to calculate the load-bearing weight of a skyscraper and the breaking point of a human soul. While Julian was posting photos of private jets and networking events in Miami, all funded by my stolen tuition, I was earning my degree in sweat. I stopped answering their calls after the first month. The messages were always the same. "Cassidy, your mother is upset you didn't call for her birthday." "Cassidy, Julian needs a temporary loan to cover a licensing fee. We know you're working." "Cassidy, don't be bitter. It's unbecoming." I blocked them all. I changed my name, not legally, but professionally. I became C. Vance, the forensic auditor and structural consultant. I made it my mission to understand money as well as I understood buildings. I wanted to know how things were built, and more importantly, how they fell apart. By the time I was 24, I had landed a job at a high-stakes firm that specialized in distressed assets. I was the person banks called when a developer went bust, and they needed to know what the remains were worth. I became a vulture in a designer's suit, and I was very, very good at it. It was a Tuesday in November when I saw the name on my desk. Asset Portfolio, 1422 Oak Crest Drive. My heart stopped. Oak Crest Drive? The house with the jasmine? The house with the mahogany table? I pulled the file. It was a disaster. My father had put the house up as collateral for Julian's virtuality venture. The crypto market had crashed, Julian's concierge service had been hit with 3 different lawsuits for fraud, and my father had been creatively moving funds from his own firm to cover the losses. It was a house of cards, and the wind had finally started to blow. The bank was moving to foreclose. They needed a structural and financial valuation before it went to the courthouse steps. I could have recused myself. I should have, but I felt a pull in my gut that I couldn't ignore. I wanted to see the ruins. I drove to the house the following Friday. I wore a charcoal gray suit and sunglasses that cost more than my first car. I parked in the driveway and sat there for a moment, looking at the peeling paint on the shutters. The jasmine was dead. The lawn was a graveyard of brown weeds. I walked up and rang the bell. My mother opened the door. She was wearing a bathrobe at 2 in the afternoon. Her hair was unwashed, and she held a glass of dark liquid that didn't look like tea. "We aren't leaving!" she screamed before she even saw my face. "The lawyers said we have 30 days!" "Hello, Eleanor," I said, removing my glasses. She froze. The glass in her hand trembled. "Cassidy?" "I'm here on behalf of the creditors," I said.
my voice as flat as a dial tone. "I need to inspect the property." She stumbled back, allowing me to enter. The house smelled of stale air and desperation. Piles of mail, red-stamped and urgent, cluttered the foyer. My father came out of the kitchen, looking aged and broken. His expensive suit was wrinkled, and he looked like a man who hadn't slept in a year. "Cassidy?" he whispered. You're with the bank?" "I'm the auditor," I said. I pulled out my tablet and started taking photos of the cracks in the ceiling. "It looks like you've neglected the foundation. That's going to hurt the auction price." "Auction?" my mother cried. "Cassidy, you have to do something. You're successful now. We've seen the news. You're a partner at that firm. Talk to them. Tell them we need more time. Tell them Julian is just about to close a new deal." "Julian is in a hotel in the Caymans trying to avoid a subpoena. I know where the money went. I followed the trail. He didn't just spend my college fund. He spent your retirement. He spent the equity in this house. He spent money that didn't even exist." My father stepped forward, his eyes red. "He's your brother. He had a bad run. We're a family, Cassidy. We did what we had to do to survive." "No," I said, stepping into the dining room. The mahogany table was still there, but it was covered in legal documents and empty takeout containers. "You did what you had to do to feed Julian's ego. You sacrificed me to build a monument to his failure. And now the monument is falling." I spent 2 hours in that house. I checked every room. I looked at my old bedroom, which had been turned into a storage unit for Julian's failed tech equipment, boxes of unbranded headsets and useless servers. As I walked to the door, my father grabbed my arm. His grip was weak. "Help us, Cass, please. We have nowhere to go." I looked at his hand, then at his face. "I'm an auditor, Dad. I only see what I find, and what I see is a total loss." The auction was held in a sterile room at the county courthouse. My parents weren't there. They couldn't bear to watch. There were 4 other bidders, investors looking to flip the property. They saw a fixer-upper in a good zip code. I saw a debt that needed to be collected. The bidding started at $400,000. $450, a man in a polo shirt said. $500, I said, not looking at him. $510, $600. The room went quiet. $600,000 was more than the house was worth in its current state. The man in the polo shirt shook his head. Going once, going twice, sold to the woman in the gray suit. I signed the papers. I wired the money I had earned from bonuses, from smart investments, and from years of living on nothing. I owned 1422 Oakcrest Drive. I didn't move in. I didn't change the locks. Not yet. I waited for the day the eviction notice was set to expire. The day was gray and drizzling, a mirror of the night I had left 8 years ago. I pulled into the driveway. A moving truck was parked there, but it was small. My parents didn't have much left to move. Most of the furniture had been seized or sold. They were standing on the porch, holding a few boxes. Julian was nowhere to be found. I later found out he'd fled to a friend's basement, leaving his parents to deal with the rubble. My mother saw my car and burst into tears. "The new owner is coming today, Arthur. We're going to be on the street. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's over." I stepped out of the car. I walked up the driveway, my heels clicking on the pavement like a countdown. "You're late," I said. My father looked at me, confused. "Cassidy? What are you doing here? Did you talk to the new owner? Can we stay for a week? Just a week to find a rental?" I pulled a folder from my bag. I didn't say a word. I handed it to him. He opened it. His eyes moved across the deed, then the bill of sale, then the name of the LLC I had formed to purchase the property. GC Debt Holdings. "You?" he whispered. "You bought it?" "I bought it. Every cracked tile, every dead jasmine vine." My mother let out a cry of joy. She dropped her box and tried to hug me. "Oh, Cassidy, you saved us. I knew you wouldn't let us go. I knew you'd come through for your family." I stepped back, avoiding her touch. The air between us felt like a live wire. "I didn't save you," I said. "I made an investment." I pulled out a second document, a lease agreement. "What's this?" Alistair asked, his brow furrowing. "Your new reality," I said. "You're not living here for free. You're not my parents today. You're my tenants. This is a standard lease agreement for a property of this size in this neighborhood." My father looked at the number at the bottom of the page. His face went white. $4,000 a month? Cassidy, that's market rate. We don't have that kind of money. My firm is in receivership. We're living on Social Security and whatever I can consult for. "Then I suggest you get a roommate, or perhaps Julian can find a job. I hear the grocery store is hiring night managers." "You're charging us rent in our own home? After we raised us, after everything we gave you?" "You gave my future to Julian," I reminded her. "You told me I was resourceful. You told me I could figure it out. Well, I did. I figured out how to buy the roof over your head, and now you're going to pay me for the privilege of staying under it." "This is cold, Cassidy," Alistair said, his voice shaking. "This is pure spite." "No," I said, leaning in until I was inches from his face. "Spite would be letting you rot on the sidewalk. This is business. This is the vision you were so fond of. I'm the landlord now, and I have very strict rules about late payments." The next 6 months were a slow-motion car crash for them. They stayed. They had no other choice. My father took a job as an entry-level clerk at a firm where he used to be a peer. My mother started working at a boutique, ironically selling clothes she used to buy without looking at the price tag. Every first of the month at 8 a.m., I would receive a notification on my phone. Rent paid. Sometimes it was short by a few $100s. I would send a formal notice. No phone calls, no emotional appeals. Just a letter on my firm's letterhead. Balance due in 48 hours or eviction proceedings will begin. They would scramble, they would call, I wouldn't answer. The money would eventually appear. One night, I went to the house for an inspection. It was part of the lease. I wanted to ensure the property was being maintained. The house was quiet. The grand furniture was gone, replaced by cheap, flat-pack tables. The mahogany dining table had been sold to pay for the second month's rent. In its place was a small, plastic folding table. My mother was sitting there, eating a bowl of canned soup. She looked at me, and for the first time, she didn't look angry. She looked defeated. Was it worth it, Cassidy? Watching us struggle like this, does it make you feel powerful? I walked through the kitchen, checking for leaks. It makes me feel even, I said. I spent years eating canned soup while Julian was at 5-star resorts on my tuition money.
I spent years wondering if I'd have a roof over my head. I'm just giving you the experience you said would make me resourceful." "We were wrong," she whispered. "We know that now. Julian, he doesn't even call. He only asks for money. He's gone, Cassidy. We lost him." "You didn't lose him," I said, turning to her. "You created him. You fed the monster until it ate everything, and then you were surprised when it was still hungry." I walked to the door. As I reached for the handle, my father came in from work. He looked exhausted, his shoulders slumped, his eyes hollow. "The heater is making a noise," he said, not even looking at me as his daughter, but as his landlord. "Can you have someone look at it? I'll send a repairman on Monday. But remember, if the damage is due to negligence, the cost comes out of your security deposit." He just nodded. He didn't argue. He didn't yell. The fire in him was gone. A year later, Julian returned. He didn't return with an apology or a plan. He returned because he was being hunted by creditors and had nowhere else to hide. I found out because I checked the security cameras I'd installed on the property. I saw his flashy, rented car in the driveway. I saw him walking through the front door like he still owned the place. I was there in 20 minutes. I didn't knock. I used my key. They were in the living room. Julian was sitting on the sofa, my sofa, with his feet on the coffee table. He was telling them about a new opportunity in green energy. He just needed $5,000 to get the paperwork started. "You have $5,000, don't you, Dad?" Julian asked, his voice still carrying that nauseating confidence. "Cassidy is the one who bought the house, right? If she can afford that, she can afford to help her brother." "Get your feet off the table," I said. The three of them jumped. Julian sneered at me. "Well, if it isn't the Ice Queen. Nice suit, Cass. Business must be good. Listen, I'm in a bit of a bind." "You're in a bind," I said, walking toward him. "I'm in a position of ownership, and you are a guest in a rental property with a strict no unauthorized occupants policy." "Oh, come on," Julian laughed. "It's me. It's Julian. Tell her, Mom. Tell her I'm staying here for a while." My mother looked at me, then at Julian. She looked at the small, cramped apartment-style life she was now living. She looked at the gray hair on my father's head and the way his hands shook as he held his cheap coffee mug. She stood up. She walked over to Julian. "You need to leave," she said. Julian's smile faltered. "What?" "You heard her," my father said, his voice stronger than I'd heard it in years. "We don't have $5,000, Julian. We don't even have $500. We are paying rent to your sister. We are working 2 jobs to stay in a house we used to own because of you." "You're taking her side?" Julian shouted. "She's treating you like servants." "She's treating us like adults, something we never did for you. Now get out before I call the police for trespassing." Julian looked at me, his eyes full of venom. "You did this. You turned them against me." "No," I said. "The truth turned them against you. I just provided the venue." Julian grabbed his bag and stormed out. We watched from the window as his car sped away, kicking up gravel from the driveway I had yet to repair. The room was silent for a long time. "He's not coming back, is he?" my mother asked. "No," I said. "And neither is your money." I looked at the two of them. I had spent 8 years wanting to destroy them. I had spent 8 years imagining this moment, the moment they realized that their golden boy was lead and I was the one who had survived. But as I looked at them, I didn't feel the rush of victory I expected. I just felt tired. "The lease is up for renewal next month." My father looked down on the floor. "We can't keep this up, Cassidy. We're tired.
We'll find a smaller place, a studio, somewhere we can actually afford. I looked around the house of my childhood, the house of my betrayal. I'm selling the house, I said. They both looked up, startled. I've received an offer from a developer. They want to tear it down and build 3 modern townhomes. The profit will be significant. Tear it down? My mother whispered. But our memories. My memories are an empty bank account and a dinner where you told me I didn't matter. I'd rather have the townhomes. I pulled out one final envelope. I placed it on the table. What's this? Alistair asked. The profit from the sale, minus my initial investment, the taxes, and the $80,000 you took from me, plus 8 years of interest. That's what's left. He opened the envelope. There was a check for $50,000. Not enough to buy a mansion, not enough to retire, but enough to live with a little dignity in a small apartment somewhere far away from here. Why? My mother asked, tears streaming down her face. Because I'm not Julian. I don't take things that don't belong to me, and I don't want to be the landlord of your misery anymore. I'm done with this family debt. It's paid in full. I walked out of the house for the last time. I didn't look back at the dead jasmine or the peeling paint. I didn't look back at the parents who had failed me or the brother who had robbed me. I drove away, and for the first time in 8 years, I didn't feel the weight of Oakcrest Drive in my rearview mirror. 3 months later, the house was gone. I stood across the street and watched the wrecking ball swing through the dining room. I watched the mahogany-colored walls crumble into dust. People say revenge is a dish best served cold, but they're wrong. Revenge is a house you build yourself, with foundations so strong that no one can ever take the floor out from under you again. I'm Cassidy. I'm an architect, and I finally know how to build something that lasts. The golden child is gone, the parents are silent, and the family mistake is the only one left standing. If your family sold your future for a lie, would you burn the bridge, or would you buy it just to watch them cross it on your terms? I know my answer. What's yours?